There are over 2 million Hindu temples in India. Some are thousands of years old. Some are carved into living rock. Some are built with stones, so precisely fitted that not a single drop of water has entered their walls in over 1,000 years. For centuries, the Western world dismissed these structures as monuments to superstition, places where uneducated people came to pray to gods they didn't understand. They were wrong. Modern scientists, physicists, architects, and neuroscientists are now discovering what ancient Indians always knew. Hindu temples are not just places of worship, they are precision scientific instruments built with knowledge so advanced that we are still working to fully understand it. This is the science hidden inside India's ancient temples. Chapter 1. Built on the Earth's energy. Every Hindu temple in India is built on a very specific location. This is not an accident. Ancient Indian architects, called sthapatis, used a system called Vastu Shastra, a precise science of placement and energy that determined exactly where a temple could and could not be built. Modern geologists have discovered that the majority of ancient Hindu temples are positioned directly above locations where the Earth's geomagnetic field is unusually strong. These are points where magnetic energy concentrates naturally beneath the ground. The main deity of every Hindu temple is placed in a room called the Garbhagriha, the womb chamber. This room is always positioned at the exact center of the geomagnetic hotspot. Beneath the idol, ancient builders buried a copper plate and a copper vessel filled with specific minerals. Copper is one of the best conductors of electromagnetic energy known to science. The combination of the geomagnetic location, the copper conductor, and the dense stone walls creates a space where the Earth's natural magnetic field is amplified and concentrated. When a person stands in the Garbhagriha, their body is exposed to this concentrated magnetic field. Modern neuroscience has shown that exposure to specific magnetic frequencies affects brainwave activity, reduces stress hormones, and creates measurable changes in the nervous system. Ancient Indians didn't have MRI machines or brainwave monitors, but they built a system that produced the same results, thousands of years before we had the language to explain why it worked. Chapter 2. The Science of the Temple Bells. Walk into any Hindu temple and the first thing you hear is the bell. Large bells, small bells, bells at the entrance, bells near the deity, bells rung at specific moments during prayer and ritual. Most people assume they are purely ceremonial, a way to announce your arrival to the gods. The reality is far more precise. Hindu temple bells are not made from a single metal. They are made from a specific alloy of 5 to 7 metals, typically including cadmium, lead, copper, zinc, nickel, chromium, and manganese, each present in a precise proportion. This combination is not decorative, it is acoustic engineering. When struck, a properly made temple bell produces a sound that lasts for a minimum of 7 seconds. During those 7 seconds, the sound touches 7 specific healing frequencies simultaneously. Neuroscientists studying the effect of these sound frequencies have found that they activate both the left and right hemispheres of the brain at the same time, a state called hemispheric synchronization. In this state, the mind becomes unusually calm and focused. Stress responses decrease. Cognitive function improves. The nervous system enters a state of deep relaxation. Modern sound therapy uses precisely these frequencies to treat anxiety, depression, and neurological disorders. Ancient Indians built them into the entrance of every temple, so that before you even reached the deity, before you began to pray, your brain was already in its optimal state of receptivity. This was not superstition. This was neuroscience, delivered through bronze. Chapter 3. The Fractal Towers. Look at the tower of a Hindu temple, the Gopuram. Now look closer. The large shape at the top is repeated in smaller versions below it. Those smaller versions are repeated in even smaller versions below them. The same pattern, repeating at every scale, all the way down to the base. This mathematical structure has a formal name in modern science. It is called a fractal. Fractal geometry was formally described by mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot in 1975. Hindu temple architects were building fractal structures 2,000 years earlier. But the fractal design of the Gopuram is not just aesthetic. It serves a precise mathematical function. Each repetition of the pattern creates an interference effect with the frequencies generated by the temple bells below. The tower acts as an amplifier, directing and concentrating sound energy upward and outward in a mathematically predictable pattern. The entire temple functions as a single integrated acoustic instrument. Every element, the bell, the chamber, the corridor, the tower, is tuned to work together. Modern acoustic engineers who have studied ancient temple complexes have found that the sound environment inside a properly constructed Hindu temple is unlike anything produced by modern architectural design. It was not created by accident, it was engineered. Chapter 4: Solar and Lunar Alignment. On the morning of a specific day each year, at a temple in Tamil Nadu called the Brihadiswara Temple, something happens that has been happening for over 1,000 years. The sun rises at a precise angle and sends a beam of light through a narrow corridor carved into the eastern wall of the temple. The beam travels through the corridor, turns at a specific angle, travels through a second passage, and arrives at exactly the right moment to illuminate the face of the main deity in the inner chamber. The architects who designed this temple in 1010 AD had no telescopes, no computers, no GPS, no modern astronomical instruments, but they calculated the movement of the sun with such precision that their alignment has remained accurate for over 1,000 years without adjustment. This is not the only temple like this. Across India, hundreds of ancient temples are built with solar and lunar alignments so precise that they function as astronomical calendars. The Konark Sun Temple in Odisha is built in the shape of a giant chariot with 12 pairs of stone wheels. Each wheel functions as a sundial. Using the shadow cast by the wheel spokes, a person standing in front of the temple can calculate the exact time of day to the nearest minute. A working clock, built from stone, in 1250 AD. Chapter 5: The Mercury Vortex. Of all the scientific secrets hidden inside Hindu temples, this one is perhaps the most extraordinary. In 1974, archaeologists excavating beneath the main tower of the Brihadiswara temple discovered something that had no immediate explanation: a sealed chamber. Inside it, a large container of mercury. Mercury has no obvious religious significance. It is not mentioned in any scripture as a sacred substance. There was no obvious ceremonial reason for it to be there, but engineers studying ancient Indian texts found a reference in the Vaimanika Shastra, an ancient Sanskrit document, to a device called a mercury vortex engine. A rotating column of mercury that generates a specific electromagnetic field when spun. Modern physicists studying this concept have found that a rotating mercury vortex does indeed produce a measurable electromagnetic field, one that is consistent with the geomagnetic amplification effect observed in temple garbhagrihas. The mercury was not decoration. It was a component of a system designed to amplify the Earth's electromagnetic energy inside the temple. A system so advanced that modern science is still working to fully understand the principles behind it. 2 million temples, 5,000 years of knowledge, encoded in stone, metal, geometry, and sound. Ancient Indian architects were not building monuments to superstition. They were building precision instruments for human consciousness, using principles of physics, acoustics, astronomy, and electromagnetism that modern science is only now beginning to formally understand. The bells were neuroscience, the towers were acoustic engineering, the alignment was astronomy, the location was geophysics, and all of it was wrapped in devotion, so that the science would be preserved, protected, and practiced for thousands of years. It worked. The temples are still standing, the bells are still ringing, The sunlight still finds the deity at exactly the right moment. And we are still trying to understand how they did it. This is India untold. If this changed how you see the world around you, subscribe, because we have only just begun.